I'm to the point where I think that the entire draft concept no longer needs to exist at all. One major flaw in the entire draft concept is that because it happens every year and the same people are always eligible to be drafted, it makes it unrealistic to expect that big stars are going to flip-flop brands every year. In real sports, the draft only works because the pool is always filled with new upcoming talent, and in WWE, it just would never work like that because the only possible way that could work is if you only draft NXT stars up, and there's never enough of them to come up every single year. So the WWE draft usually depends, and the excitement around it depends, on top stars moving over brands. But for that to happen every single year, like I just said, it just doesn't make sense. Remember back in the day when certain stars were just known for being a part of certain brands? People like Batista, Edge, The Undertaker were all well known to be part of Friday Night SmackDown, where people like John Cena, Shawn Michaels, Triple H were all known to be Raw stars, and they were on those brands throughout the 2000s and 2010s for years and years, and we never got tired of seeing them. And sure, maybe at some point they have to move over, like John Cena did in 2016 going back to SmackDown, or like in 2008 when Triple H and Jeff Hardy moved over to SmackDown as well, and that was a new refreshing feeling to the show. Things like that are perfectly fine, but there's another and better way I say they can do it. So I feel like if WWE is going to take anything from real sports, they should just get rid of the draft and implement a free agency pool that happens maybe right after WrestleMania every year, where superstars sign maybe 1-year deals. Maybe you can have the top stars sign even bigger, longer deals to certain brands, and those contracts can come to an end every April or every May after WrestleMania. So then it could be similar to, I believe it was either the 2005 or 2006 draft, where over the course of a month, you have superstars just joining the other brands, maybe just even showing up as a surprise, and that's how you find out who was drafted or who was signed to the new brands. It could even be used as a storyline every single year to build up beef between the brands and the general managers trying to sign these superstars to their brands. Just like there used to be these little things back in the early 2000s with Stephanie McMahon and Eric Bischoff going back and forth trying to sign people like Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker. Like imagine today Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis trying to sign Roman Reigns to SmackDown or Raw. It could even make things interesting for mid-carders or anybody in general that is placed lower on the card trying to compete for their spot or for a new contract so that they can be noticed enough to be signed to a brand. Something similar to like how Heath Slater was back in, I think, 2016 or 17 with the whole I Have Kids thing and him trying to get signed to Raw or SmackDown. Like that was one of the most interesting things on WWE programming every week. So imagine that every year we have that with a bunch of mid-carders giving us a reason to care about them when they're not placed in high-profile storylines. It may even entice some people to want to join NXT because maybe Shawn Michaels promises them a world title match or even a top spot on that brand or something like that. That would give every single superstar and every single show some type of meaning, some type of motivation, and it will give us a reason to care about those wrestlers. Because right now, somebody like Odyssey Jones, who was drafted to Raw back-to-back years, and we have not seen him once or heard from him once ever since he was drafted last year, that could be a way to put him on TV, even if it's on NXT trying to make his name known to get a contract. So in my opinion, they should just completely replace the whole entire draft with some type of free agency pool, some type of free agency concept that is similar to what I just suggested right now. Because at least when people are just staying on their brands, it at least makes sense because it is their decision. It is the general managers coming to them, trying to convince them to stay on that brand. And other than just free agency, something that we've seen over the years that we probably haven't seen enough is general managers making trades. So if storyline-wise, WWE ever wanted to make something make sense, if they wanted to at any given moment make somebody switching brands make sense, some people like the current storyline that I thought was going that direction with the Bloodline moving over to Monday Night Raw because they pissed off the general manager of that show. Then the managers of both shows can come to an agreement for a trade for those superstars. It would give the general managers even more power on screen because at this point, it kind of feels like all general managers do or create matches because it never feels like the superstars ever truly fear their general managers of their brands. It just feels like they make the matches and Triple H is the true man in charge anyways. Another major issue with the draft, especially this year, is that the draft orders just don't make sense. Like, there is no way, and don't get me wrong because I do really like this person, but there is no way that Carmelo Hayes is being drafted before somebody like Randy Orton. There's no way that Drew McIntyre is going to get drafted in the 4th round. There is no way that CM Punk or Seth Rollins or Drew are not one of the first picks for Monday Night Raw. Like, it just does not make sense. I mean, when some of these picks were showing up on screen, I just wanted to turn the TV off because I knew that it was just a waste of time. So, with that said, there are so many more flaws with the whole concept of the WWE Draft, and I don't even think that there's a possible good way to fix it. I think that they should implement the free agency pool like I suggested, and that they just get rid of the whole draft in general and replace it with that, because when you start creating dumb rules like champions not being able to move over brands, that just makes it so uninteresting and so boring to watch, especially on night 2, because the draft pool for Raw this year was way more deeper, way more filled with top stars, and even by the time the show started, because of how people were drafted on SmackDown, we just kind of knew that nobody major was going to move over. So in 2024, and maybe for some people even before this, the whole idea of the WWE Draft, the entire concept, is useless, it's pointless, it's dead, get rid of it. Find something new, because in wrestling, in the WWE, it just seems to not work. It was fine, like I said, in the 2000s, but at this point, in a decade, we've only had that one decent draft back in 2016, and ever since then, nothing has been good about the WWE Draft. But those are just my thoughts and opinions about the draft. What do you guys think of the whole concept? Do you guys think it's dead? Were you excited for it, and were you disappointed like I was? Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Please hit that like button, and please subscribe for more WWE, wrestling, and 2K content. And with that said, you guys stay smooth.